Thanks very much, George, and I hope you have stories to tell for lifetimes and lifetimes.
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Merkl. I'm enjoying your explanations very much. I have 3 questions. The first one is regarding scars. You talked a bit about scar tissue. I was wondering about healing scar tissue a long time after the surgery, like 20 years after surgery. Is there a chance of regenerating or improving scar tissue?
Well, you know, there is, and some preliminary studies indicate if you inject under the scar tissues, actually you have to inject live pistil under it.
Okay. Thank you.
It's basically live pistil does proliferate any genetic material and stimulates the cell growth, providing both the energy and the components.
And the second question is about fingertips. You mentioned them this morning. If you've lost a small amount of fingertip, can that be regenerated? Or other limbs? Or?
Well, I grow organs in vitro, but we haven't done anything in vivo. And we were talking about that actually you can grow even directly from the transfer RNA or from the DNA. So if the cells are there, it's possible, based on preliminary documentary I'm working on, and I'm going to publish that also, both on video and books, of growing whole life form. And actually, when you grow the whole life form directly from the DNA, you can see the different parts of growing and forming, which is so exciting because the first time we can see a life replication from a DNA entirely different from our concept. And you can grow a whole life form directly out of the DNA. Now, the first one was the Chondriana, but now we're getting a little bit more into it as we're learning more about the process. But as far as experimenting of growing back organs, it will be feasible. The techniques to what we have to develop how to do it. If you have some cells left over from a particular organ, you should be able to replicate it because the information is all there.
And finally, would you talk to us a little bit about the use of your products in emotional and even mental disorders?
Well, we have a lot of letters coming from everywhere, from all over the world, and thousands of them. And a lot of people, especially people with HIV, they write in that they haven't been restored physically, but they also has been restored mentally. We have also one case where schizophrenic has been restored to normal, 19-year-old girl. She was also alcoholic. And we have manic depression restored back to normal. So we're getting a lot of sporadic reports, but still we will have to do a more thorough, more scientific clinical study on it. Mental capacity is no question about it, that it will increase. It's basically the adenosine guanosine phosphate is act as a stimulator for all the proliferation of all the cells, whether it's brain cells or tissue cells or organ cells. It doesn't really matter. And also the gene production. It's like the cyclic AMP, which is directly responsible, and GMP. These are directly responsible for the stimulating effect on of the genes to reproduce. So there's a lot more than we can digest at this moment. Actually, what I'm looking for, once this whole technology gets into the hands of the scientific community and thousands of professionals gets on it, you will see really progress, because everybody in his own field can go in and explore the limits of how far this will take us. And after all, we're all coming from the adenosine guanosine phosphate, the adenine and guanine, the beginning of life. So we're reproducing the primordial soup, what we had at the very beginning of life formation of this planet. You're welcome.
Doctor, I'd just like to know if the oral ingestion of light crystals would help reduce high blood pressure.
No, contrary. The oral consumption of live crystal will reduce the blood pressure. First of all, it will reduce the cholesterol just to drink by itself. We have many cases reported and clinical studies firmly documenting that being on the live crystal, it will reduce the cholesterol to normal level, and the normalization of the blood pressure coming down to normal level, it automatically follows.
What about the reduction of angina attacks?
The angina attacks definitely not only reduction, but it should eliminate it, because angina attacks is related to the plugged arteries, and once the circulation is restored, as the plaques and cholesterol removed from the blood vessels, then the angina pain should completely disappear, and all the side effects which is brought on by plugged arteries should disappear and normalize, because you have a normal, healthy blood flow. And not only that, but the heart muscles should be rebuilt and strengthened and become normal.
Very good. And just one final question. Would the use of liquid crystals help in reducing the potential for Alzheimer's?
Again, we have some reports, not in writing, but we have a product where we combine the live crystal with ginkgo. Now, our process lends itself not process or extract valuable remedies from herbal compounds. In other words, you can take the Chinese traditional medicine and you can modernize them. You can extract the active ingredients, purify them to a high degree, and make them injectable. So they're much more effective than just drinking the herbal tea, because every time you make that herbal tea, you're getting a very small fragment of the ingredients out of that leaf. This was the reason we took the ginkgo and combined the ginkgo with live crystal. And when this was given to people who had a problem of a similar sort, they recovered from it very efficiently. And we have some pretty good clinical data forthcoming in the very near future on it. We already know the verbal reports, but we're going to have written reports on it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, George.
Hi.
Thanks for being here and for all your great explanations.
Quite
I have
welcome.
learned so much today. I've appreciated that and your patience. And unfortunately, I represent a few people and have a few questions. But there's one thing here that nobody has asked about yet. And I talked to a person on the phone. His wife is severely afflicted by silicone poisoning. And he said, if you can tell me if life crystals will detach the silicone from, I think it's the DNA that it attaches to, I'll make you rich. What that would be fun, but I'd like to be able to help this man because he's connected to that whole community. Has anybody done anything with silicone poisoning yet?
No, we haven't done anything silicone poisoning, but we have some clinics who are doing clinical study with great success of restoring the breast of women who had silicone implants. And as you know, when sometimes, you know, it just everything begins to decay in there. So when they open up, sometimes they don't have to open because it's already oozing and open. But they go in with live crystal and they restore it and to perfect health. They have to rebuild it from inside out, and there's great success reported by this very reputable clinic, the restoration of the breast from people who had silicone implants and got into complications.